What's going on YouTube? So when it comes to hot hatches, two of the biggest names in the game have long been the Volkswagen Golf GTI and the Golf R. That's why we were super excited to spend the last week with this heavily updated version of the Golf R, the highest performance option. And we want to know, is this an everyday performance hatchback for you? Well, let's go ahead and find out. Let's jump right in with our spec dump. Under the hood of this Golf R, we have a 2-liter turbocharged engine making 328 horsepower. It's paired to a 7-speed dual-clutch automatic transmission, and you have all-wheel drive. Then our combined fuel economy is 25 mpg.
Now the base price for the Golf R for 2026 is about $49,500, and if you're looking to buy one or any new vehicle, we would encourage you to go to carconfections.com/newcarquotes to get the best price. Now, of course, later on in this review, we're going to go take it out for a test drive and get things like our sound level reading that is official for Kentucky and share with you our real world fuel economy reading. And at the end, we'll tell you if we like it the same, better, or worse after 7 days with it.
But let's go ahead and close up the hood because we need to take a look at the exterior as well as the inside. So jumping into the exterior design, of course, this is a vehicle that really conveys its performance right as soon as you walk up to it. You have a lot of aggressive elements here with the Golf R, of course, and that begins up here in the front. You'll notice that we've got a very large lower fascia here with lots of opening, of course, feeding in air to that turbocharged engine. And you have some nice aggressive looking elements like the body color accents down there at the bottom. Like I was saying, this was just updated, so we have a little bit of new look to the overall design. One thing I want to point out is you have this blue accent on all of the models, no matter which exterior color you choose, that goes through here and into the headlight. Speaking of the headlight, we have premium full LED headlights. These are projector LEDs, and they look very nice at night. Now, I should mention that the Golf R is only available in just one configuration, and we have 19-inch alloy wheels. This is a contrast design. You'll notice the R branding right there on the center cap. And of course, this is made to enhance performance. So we've got performance tires, and we also have performance brakes. Moving up here to our mirrors, we've got a gloss black finish for the R, and of course, you have things like blind spot monitoring, as you would expect.
At the side of the Golf, you're going to be coming in at a length of about 169 inches long. And as far as any major design elements, it's going to be a very sleek and sophisticated look for this hot hatch. So no roof rails or anything like that. You're going to have blacked out window surrounds and body color down at the bottom. And I do want to mention one change here at the side when it comes to paint colors for 2026. Graphite gray metallic is a new color that's being added to the R model. So that will just help spice up your color palette just a little bit more. Now, as we head here into the rear, you're going to see that iconic hot hatch design continue. And you did have a few tweaks that happened last year with this 2025 refresh. The Golf R is going to be where you're going to have your most aggressive design. So you have a big fixed spoiler up here at the top, as well as an integrated wiper. And then peeking out here, you can see your VW emblem, as well as your little backup camera and your R branding. And let's also look at your taillights. They're going to be a nice premium unit for this model. They're fully LED with a LED reverse light as well as an amber LED turn signal. And then coming down to the bottom, the aggression really continues because on the R you get the full quad exhaust tips. You can get them blacked out as well. And with the Euro Sport package, you have the special adaptive Akrapovic exhaust. Let's go ahead and give that a listen. And when it comes to your safety systems, Volkswagen makes it easy. They include everything as standard on this Golf R. That does include things like Highway Drive Assistant with your adaptive cruise control. We found that to work well throughout our time with it this week. But you have an exclusive and very sporty interior for this Golf R model, so let's check that out. But first,
if you're new here, we're brothers and we've been reviewing cars since we were 12
and 16. We started young, and since then we have reviewed over 2,000 vehicles at every price point.
No matter what you're looking for, from humble to high-end, we'd love for you to subscribe to be a part of our Car Confections family.
Let's learn a lot and have some fun with all the latest cars. All right, now let's move to the inside. First, here's our key fob. You have a smart entry system and a really nice looking key fob. Volkswagen's making some of the nicest mainstream key fobs in the entire industry. I love the way this looks, very solid, feels nice in the hand. And of course, getting inside, just grab behind the handle, that will unlock the door. And another area that's surprisingly very premium is the interior. But before we get into all the individual details, we'll start by talking about the seats. So as we take a look at these, you'll see that we have a cloth and leather seat. This is part of the Euro style package. I guess it's designed basically to give you better grip and breathability over time versus the standard leather seats. As you can see, we have a nice stitching detail with blue accents, and the R there at the top is a single piece bucket. Really holds you in place super well, and it's comfortable. That's two things that don't often go together. Now, as far as adjustment, most of it is manual except for a power back adjustment. But let's go ahead and climb inside. And closing up the door, let's look at the rest of the cabin materials. Like I already mentioned, it is a very premium space. I actually think it's very Audi-like in the overall execution, because you'll see things like leatherette over here on the armrest, a nice suede insert through there, soft touch plastic everywhere that feels super solid, and you have some details through there. Soft touch plastic along the top, more of that trim runs through the center section, which looks nice. Single vent effect, and then the center section here will be finished in a piano black trim. This is also where your push button start is located. Definitely got a nice growl on startup. Okay, let's jump right into the gauge cluster. So, of course, as you can see, we've got a digital cockpit. It even has the little details, such as that blue accent you'll see repeated all throughout the interior, and it has plenty of customizability. You can press through different menus. You can also do these distinct different views, including a really nice looking R-branded gauge cluster there with your boost for your turbocharger. I definitely like that view. I also like the head-up display. It has a lot of nice information on there, so you don't even have to look down at the gauge cluster if you don't want to. Now, as we move back to the steering wheel, we have a special Golf R design steering wheel. Again, the blue accents, flat bottom, nice perforation here. It feels great in the hands. You have big paddle shifters. They're not made of metal, but they're pretty clicky. And this does have the touch-sensitive buttons, though, so one thing that's actually a little different than the GTI, which has the physical buttons. The steering wheel is heated, by the way, and manual tilt and telescoping. Now, taking a look at interior storage, of course, not the primary focus of this model, but you buy a hot hatch because you want some practicality, and this does give you some practicality. Inside, we have some donuts, of course, that's our logo. We like to load up the center console and tell you how many will fit inside. The answer today is 5. That's not too bad overall. One of the things I like about this is that the armrest can slide forward and back. It can also adjust the height as well. And you have 2 cup holders here. You can pop that out for thinner drinks. You have a 12-volt outlet, a little slim place right there where you can stick your phone, and you can stick an additional phone up there on the standard wireless phone charging pad or connect it to the USB-Cs. As far as the shifter, this is the latest VW design, kind of a nub style is what I like to call that. Pull back for drive, of course, go back again if you want to activate the sport shift. Go into reverse. Here's our standard backup camera. We have front and back parking sensors on board. You have a couple different views for this, but I will say it's a little bit distorted. I definitely found parking to be a little bit challenging, like lining it up, just because of the weird perspective that it presents the information, and resolution is okay. If you don't want to park yourself, though, you can always use the park assist function. Press that P right there for park, and you have an electronic parking brake, no brake hold though. As we continue our tour through here, you have some buttons that serve as shortcuts to different menus inside of the screen. We also have 3 sliders, which are for our audio system as well as our climate control. So first, with the climate system, this is a 3-zone automatic climate system. You just swipe along here or just tap to adjust your temperature. You can also click the little Clima button when it pops back, and that's where additional functions are located. Overall, it's actually pretty easy to deal with despite being a slider. Also, the volume, of course, like I was saying, is a slider as well. We have the Harman Kardon sound system, and let's give that a sample right now. Yeah, overall sound quality of this system is quite good. We enjoyed listening to it this week, although what I really enjoy listening to the most is the exhaust sound. Now, as far as the display itself, this is a 12.9-inch display. This has the latest Volkswagen software on board, so the main features you might be looking for that are supported, Apple CarPlay and Android Auto both run wirelessly. I tap into there and go into the system itself. You can see you got a lot of different menus. All this is fully customizable. There's your built-in navigation system as well. And then, of course, you've got some shortcuts, including to your drive modes. You can go through and do each of these distinct drive modes. This also supports a custom drive mode. We have an auto-dimming mirror. No home link remotes on this, though. One thing I do want to point out is with the Euro style package, we normally would have a sunroof. That gets deleted. Another thing I just passed up earlier is the fact that heated seats are standard, ventilated seats also should be standard, but the Euro style package deletes that feature as well.
Now come on and join me in the rear seats of this Golf R, which is really one of my favorite places to be in this model because it reminds me of just how practical this hot hatch is. Let's start out with our specs. You have about 35 inches of legroom and about 38 inches of headroom. Neither are going to be leading any classes, but it is honestly really comfortable back here. And I also brought along the official Car Confections ruler to figure out how much realistic knee room I have behind Drew's 5'8" driving position. I'm 5'9", and we have about 6 inches of additional knee space, which is really plenty enough. I could see going on a long road trip back here. My feet slide up underneath the seat, and these seats overall are really comfortable. The headrest hits you in the right place. Just know that these seats will not be able to recline. Now, as far as other features, you do have a full down center armrest with 2 cup holders and a little bit of extra storage cubby. And speaking of storage, you are going to have quite a few additional storage cubbies here, including lower pockets on both of the seats, as well as 2 additional upper pockets. I really like that. As you can see, I've slid my phone in there. They've really banked in on all of the extra practicality that you can here in the rear. As far as other features, you do have my vents here for my 3rd zone of climate, which I can adjust using this little slider. And I do also have standard heated rear seats here on the R model. That's a really nice feature that you really wouldn't expect to find in anything in this class. Now let's talk about your door trim. This is a little bit cheaper. It's going to be hard touch plastic on most of the upper portions. I wish they would have brought back some of that faux carbon fiber trim, but you do have more suede here in the center, as well as a leather wrapped armrest and a ton of bottle storage for this hot hatch. Now the practicality party continues here with the rear hatch. To open it up, you just kind of get under the VW emblem. It is a manual hatch no matter what model you get. And let's take a look at the space here. Again, I really think you're going to be impressed. The hatch allows you to have 19.9 cubic feet behind the second row of seats. And if I kind of get my way through the cargo cover here, I can fold the second row down to reveal, there we go, 34.5 cubic feet of space. I do want to point out you do have the center pass-through as well if you have some skis or anything longer like that you want to fit through there. And overall, this is really a good usable amount of space. It would even allow you to cross-shop it with something like a subcompact crossover to get that really great mix of overall usability. And if you'd like to cross-shop it with any of the popular mainstream segments, we would encourage you to go to carconfections.com/vehicle rankings. On there, we've gone through a bunch of really popular segments to rank vehicles based on what matters to you. So we'd encourage you to use that tool if you want to be a smart shopper. But anyways, heading back to the cargo area here, let's get our length, width, and height measurements to see how much you can realistically haul with you for the journey. As far as your overall length, you're going to be sitting at about 61 inches of overall space. Behind the second row, we're going to be sitting at 30 inches of length. As far as your width, again, I'm not a professional like Mason, so just bear with me here. We're going to be sitting at 39 inches of overall width, and I'm going to attempt to make my way around the cargo cover to get you the height. We're going to be sitting closer to about 28 inches of height. And as far as your load in, around 25 inches, which is really better than most of your crossovers out on the market. And then underneath the floor here, you are not going to have a spare tire for this model, but you do have a little bit of extra space. Well guys, it is finally time to take this Golf R out on the road for a test drive, and we're going to be covering quite a few different things, as you can see on the screen right now, including getting our Kentucky sound level reading. But I think what you're really waiting for is starting out with a hard acceleration. Oh yeah, there we go.
Yeah, so this is obviously a lot of fun, and it's pretty fast. So, like we were talking about with the spec dump, it's a 2-liter turbocharged 4-cylinder engine, 328 horsepower, 295 pound-feet of torque. So really good power figures, especially for, you know, a small little guy like this. And it certainly gets it up to speed plenty quick, and we have a nice sound while we're doing it.
Yeah, I really love everything about this powertrain. This 4-cylinder is incredibly smooth, and it is making a little bit more power than what the pre-refresh model was making. Thank you to an ECU tune, and you really feel every bit of that power in every single corner.
Yeah, as soon as the turbo spools up just a little bit, you are off the line pretty quick. And I definitely like that you can also hear the turbo whistle really prominently. In addition to the sport exhaust, so Josh talked about that on the outside, but the active exhaust, each drive mode that you go into, it kind of amps up, getting more and more aggressive. For that initial launch there, we went ahead and jumped straight to the most aggressive. We're in the race drive mode right now.
Yes, on our own personal racetrack. Now, I do also want to mention the Golf GTI that is still available as well. That has a less powerful 2-liter turbo 4-cylinder, making 241 horsepower, which is still a lot of fun in that package. Mason and I did the press drive on that earlier this year, and we do have a video on that if you would like to go check it out.
This thing really puts a smile on the face.
Yes.
Another thing that puts a smile on the face is the transmission. So we've got the 7-speed dual clutch, the DSG, and this thing shifts lightning fast, especially when you're in one of these aggressive drive modes. It absolutely blasts off shifts like nobody's business. Bam, bam, bam. You can do that same exact thing with the paddle shifters as well when you want to, get on a back road like I have done at least a couple times this week, because this is so enjoyable.
Yeah, this is really a fantastic transmission, and I would say that it's really easy to live with. I know dual clutches can be hit or miss when it comes to everyday usability. In this packaging, it really fits well, and we've really enjoyed living with it, even in normal everyday driving. One thing I will mention that is, of course, missing from the Golf R and the GTI now in this refresh generation is the 6-speed manual. We do wish they would have kept that around, but the DSG kind of has its own icon status in terms of the Volkswagen lineup anyways, so we're happy this is at least a really fantastic transmission in itself. Now, unfortunately, we've had to pop it back into comfort mode, but for good reason. It's time to get our sound level reading here in Kentucky. So I've turned everything on fan speed 1, rear climate is off, and let's get that reading. we have settled in here at 58.6 decibels for the Golf R this year. And I don't have to sit here and guess how it compares to all of its rivals. I can go to carconfections.com/sound level readings to find that out. Now, overall, that is a pretty good sound level reading, especially considering the performance of this model. It's going to put it on par with other budget sports cars that we have tested on the channel, including the Elantra N as well as the Civic Type R.
Now, I also want to mention ride quality, because this is, of course, needs to be everyday livable, and thankfully, the adaptive suspension we have makes it certainly everyday livable. When we're in the comfort mode, especially, the ride quality is nice and smooth. I took the time to go on a little bit of a road trip this week on the interstate primarily, and even on the beat up pieces of pavement, it certainly rode quite nicely. And I already mentioned the seats themselves are very comfortable, in addition to giving you lots of support. But we're out on a back road now, so let's talk a little bit about the more exciting thing, the dynamic ability of this model. So with the adaptive suspension, you have that adaptability. So when you go through the drive modes, in addition to the exhaust changing, the actual suspension is going to get firmer. You'll see that demonstrated as I kind of come through this tight corner. But overall, this model is certainly a handler, really flat. The 4MATIC all-wheel drive system puts the power down and just gives you tremendous grip. You don't feel like you could ever push it hard enough to lose grip.
And I think that's really a benefit of the R over the GTI, is having the 4Motion, not the 4MATIC. This isn't a Mercedes.
Oh, yes. Wrong four.
The 4Motion all-wheel drive system over the GTI's front-wheel drive. This really has grip for days. I took it out on a back road as well, and it really just feels like the car that keeps on giving, and it feels like you can't push it hard enough because it really handles anything you can throw at it.
And then, of course, also rewarding is the steering. It's super nice and responsive. This has a very agile, darty kind of feel to it. A little of lightness to the steering, but nothing too bad. I think you have just a lot of fun when you take it down a back road. We've had some of the Audi S products in recent weeks leading up to this, and this actually is more fun to drive, I think, on the back road than the Audi S5 and SQ5.
Now let's briefly talk about fuel economy as well as our real-world usability. So the GTI is rated for 27 mpg combined, the Golf R is 25 mpg combined, but what have we gotten over our past 7 days with this? So we have really taken the chance to get through this tank of gas. Like Drew said, he took it on a little bit of a road trip. Mason and I have been enjoying it as well. And after hundreds of miles, we are sitting at 27.7 mpg as our overall rating. Now that has been mostly highway miles, but we've really gotten a pretty decent mix in throughout the entire week, and it's outperforming that EPA estimate. I would say it's really impressive and just adds to the overall fact that this is a fun but usable everyday car that you can run and go get groceries in, but then you can throw it down a back road as well.
Yeah, just be aware it does ask for premium fuel.
Yes.
And that is today's slam dunk, is just the fact that this is a vehicle that can do both, the practical things and the fun things. It's really kind of hard to find a vehicle that can do both and really nail both, and this is one of those cases.
Yes, I completely agree with those feelings, but as far as the airball goes, we haven't completely gotten to that. I'm going to cover it here in just a few seconds, but the pricing is going to be our airball for this year. For 2026, prices have gone up quite a bit, and we're going to talk about that in just a second.
And lastly here, do we like it the same, better, or worse after living with it for a week? This is a resounding better. It's just been an absolute blast. It's been able to do everything that we have thrown at it, whether that was everyday life or performance driving with breeze.
Yes. Now let's talk price for the Golf R. Now, unfortunately, prices have gone up on both the GTI and the R for 2026, and it's not just by a little bit. Base prices have gone up over $2,000 on each of these models. So it's really a shame because this is a super practical and fun product, and I just wish it was a little bit more accessible for more people. But what are those prices going to be? The GTI is going to start at $34,500, excuse me, and the R is going to start at $49,500. So that means when you add on the options like this Euro style package that we have today and your destination, you're going to be sitting right around $54,000 as equipped. So it is asking quite a lot, but if you're cross shopping with something like an Audi, it may not actually seem that bad. Now, if you'd like to buy one or any new vehicle, we would encourage you to go to carconfections.com/newcarquotes. On there you can get access to our tool, which will help you with dealership negotiation when it comes to invoice pricing, as well as accessing a monthly payment tool. If you'd like to access that, you can find it in our description down below, as well as a pinned comment at the top of this video. But buying a car is a lot more than just the original MSRP, so let's dive into resale and reliability. Let's start with resale value. Using Mason's economics degree, we've determined what we think is a good potential resale value for this Volkswagen Golf R. After 5 years and 60,000 miles, we estimate it will be worth about 51.8% of its original MSRP, and after 10 years and 120,000 miles, 14.7%. Now, note that is pretty good as far as the overall industry goes, but it is going to be less than competitors such as Honda and Toyota. But this Golf R is more of a low volume collector's model, so this might be positively affecting your resale value.
Now, we've also done the same for reliability by developing the Combined Reliability Index. This takes into account several studies from trustworthy sources and combines them in a way that gives you the most holistic picture. In this regard, Volkswagen is rated below the overall industry average for all vehicle makes.
Now, if you're interested in seeing how we calculate these resale and reliability measures, as well as checking out our overall industry-wide statistics, we would encourage you to go to carconfections.com/resale and carconfections.com/reliability. Buying a car is a very big decision, and we encourage you to make a smart decision when you're considering your vehicle purchase. Now, when it comes to VW's warranty, you do have 4 years and 50,000 miles of basic and powertrain warranty coverage, and you do have 2 years and 20,000 miles of complimentary maintenance. Well, guys, we hope you enjoyed this in-depth 7-day review of the refresh Golf R. If you enjoyed hearing our impressions with this model for the past 7 days, as well as joining us on the really fun test drive, we'd encourage you to subscribe down below. When you do that, it tells manufacturers that you really appreciate our content, and it helps us get models like this back home for 7 days. Now, if you're already a part of our family, we appreciate your continued support, and we'll catch you next time as we sample more of the latest automotive delicacies.